Hello, once again. Welcome to Croatia. Could you tell me first, what are your business impressions about Croatia so far? And what should we do to get to our American dream?
So far, my impression is amazing. I mean, the country, I think it's great that you're on the euro, which I think is great. And your inflation is not, I mean, it's higher, a bit higher than the United States, but it's not insane. Last night I went out to a restaurant for dinner and I was incredibly impressed with both the quality of the food, the ambiance. So, you know, when also I look out my hotel window and it just, you know, I get a good sense from traveling. I've been to so many places where places like the energy, if it's prosperous, if it's upbeat, and it seems that, you know, the country's really set itself up for success over the long term. Obviously, you know, the country's got to grow, and I think it's important that people that really want to make money focus on businesses and opportunities that allow them to sell products and services, not just to the population of Croatia, but also outside Croatia. Because I think the one limiting factor is it's a relatively small population. So how do you offset that? Well, you think bigger and try to, you know, sell your goods and services overseas, or so to speak, to other, you know, countries in Europe.
You used your Wall Street experience to become a very famous author and speaker, but also you were criticized a lot because you profiting off your story.
Right.
How do you comment that?
I became very famous from the book and then the movie, with The Wolf of Wall Street, right, which came out in 2013, and you know, I think when people watch the movie, like, oh my God, it's, you know, it's amazing, and they did some things wrong, you know, good and bad, right? But also that those things happened. You know, the movie came out 10 years ago. The events are like 30 years old. They're really old, right? And you know, the people who lost money were paid back at this point, right?
All of them.
All the people that wanted to be. There was a fund that anyone that wanted to get paid back opted into the fund. Most of the people were very wealthy, and a lot of them didn't even care because they wrote it off in their taxes, and they were speculating. So, you know, it wasn't like we were convincing people to take their retirement money and put it into the stock market. This was, people were speculating, right? And that was wrong. I'm not trying to minimize. It was wrong, right? But so, you know, I feel really good about everything I've done in the last 30 years, let's say last 20 years, right, since the whole thing happened. When I go around the world, you know, I teach people how to sell more effectively, how to be entrepreneurs. So I think it's more than offset for the things I did back when I was 25 years old.
Mm-hmm. You changed as well.
Well, I changed back into the person that I was. Like, notice when I went down to Wall Street, you know, I never gotten in trouble in my life. And no one in my family, I come from a really good, not a wealthy family, but a very honest, law-abiding family. So it wasn't like I was, you know, in a mafia family, like we could have sent out into the world to commit mayhem, right? So I went to Wall Street, and it's very easy to get corrupted on Wall Street, as we saw in 2008, where, you know, the biggest firms were out there, you know, breaking the law on a daily basis and almost took the entire financial world, you know, into bankruptcy, right? So, and again, that's not an excuse for what I did, but it's easy to get corrupted. So when I kind of reverted back to the kid I was before I went to Wall Street, it was relatively easy for me.
Do you think moral is important in business? Should it be mandatory, an obligation?
Yes. You know, again, I think that there's nothing unethical about making a lot of money, right? But the idea is, and I think this is what I got wrong. This is the mistake that I made. When I was very young, if you would have asked me, what's the purpose of a business? I would say, well, the purpose of a business is to make money, to get rich, right? But that, in fact, it's not the purpose of a business. The purpose of a business is to monetize the delivery of value. So in other words, you have something that's valuable to people, whether it's a good or service, and that helps people and solves a problem, right? And if you help someone, right, well, you deserve to get paid for that. They're getting massive value. The idea is that they pay you a certain amount of money, but when they're done paying you, like, well, wow, that was a great deal. So they have to feel like they got the value and then some, right? The more value you deliver, the more people you reach, the more money you make. That's ethical business. I think that's what all great businesses do.
Where is the line between greed and to get enough?
Well, I think the distinction is with greed is that, you know, it's greed versus ambition. So like greed is making as much money as you can, as fast as you can, and you really don't care who gets hurt along the way. It's all about me, 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 me. Versus ambition is about building and creating something awesome and helping and lifting up the people around you. There's nothing wrong with being ambitious, and I think that ambition is something I see very much in Croatia. People want to make more money, they want to have better lives, and they're doing well, But I don't see, like in some countries, I'll admit, I do see more of a, like, they don't really care how they make their money. I haven't seen any of that in Croatia. I see more of the sort of ethical undertone, which I think is really great and will serve the country over the long term.
Do you regret what you did back in 90s?
I think regret is the wrong word. I think living with regret is a very toxic way to go through life. I think everyone makes mistakes, and you have to learn from those mistakes, and you do better in the future. Of course, if I could change certain things that I did, I would cherry pick and say, I just wish no one lost money, right? But I don't regret the damage I did to myself with drug taking or the excess partying or the multiple marriages or the wild, I don't regret that. I don't live that way anymore, older and wiser, but that was my life. And it also gave me a platform now to help people. But of course, if I could take back anything I did that harmed someone else, I would do that in 2 seconds.
What was it like to work with DiCaprio and Scorsese?
It was amazing. So I spent about a year with Leo. We were together almost every day, all the time. And it was really fun, exciting. I think one thing that people maybe don't know about Leo is that he's an incredibly hard worker. Like, he's not just like, oh, I'm Leo DiCaprio, I can look at the script and I'll just go out. He, like, tortured himself over every word, every scene. You know, he'd read something to me. Does that sound like the way you'd say? So he really took it seriously, right? And Scorsese, of course, is just a legend. So Scorsese was amazing to me. He gave me a cameo in the movie.
Was he tough?
Well, not on me, but he's, Scorsese's not tough. He's beloved by everybody, and he's incredibly talented.
Are you going to make another movie?
Yeah, so I just finished a new book called The Wolf of Investing, which really takes people, this is a really great book, and I think it'll be out in Croatian at some point, but if you know it, it's about how to really set yourself up for retirement using the stock market. It's about long-term investing.
Do you find yourself more successful today or back then?
Much more successful today.
Today?
In every way. I mean, like, listen, I do really well financially, but also, I could sleep at night. Like, I'll tell you, I made so much money when I was young, but I was always wondering, am I going to get in trouble? And that's a terrible way to live. And so I would really urge anyone listening, like, if you're at that crossroads, can I do it one way or do it the right way? I would choose the right way, because you make more money over the long term by doing it the right way.
Thank you.
Sure.